what is index and match. We'll see on exact. Okay, so you see when I have these two values, okay, and I have exact, which is A3 and B3, I am trying to equate them. Okay, so the output is coming as true, right? Because everything is same. This text and text is exactly same. Now you see here Tanuj Kumar Rajput, and this is again same. Do you see this one? Though the spelling is same, but the case is different. So we get a false here. Okay, because the case is different, we get a false. And obviously the spaces and all, definitely it will give a false. But the main issue was about the case. So with exact, it checks the case. It checks the case. Okay, so moving ahead. Okay, so next what we have is the compare columns. Okay, so what we see is the compare columns. Okay, so we'll just see what compare columns are. So we can check whether the data in two columns, okay, they are same or not the same. Okay, so we will see that on how do we do. So conditional formatting is the one by which we can see if the columns are matching or not. Okay, we will see if the columns are matching or if any values are matching. Okay, so it is a technique where we format cells in a worksheet based on certain conditions. Okay, so conditional formatting option is available in the style section. um, and the home tab, where there are various conditions provided by Excel to use formatting on cells, or a user can create a new rule for conditional formatting using a formula. Okay, so let's check this out. How can we do this? Conditional formatting for, okay, let me just take it out. Okay, so see, this is how you can do the conditional formatting. Now here what we have is, see, conditional formatting you get in home tab. Okay, in home tab you get this conditional formatting. Here you have the highlight cells and you can have the duplicate values. So now if you do duplicate values, all the duplicate values will be highlighted here. Okay, you can check what you want and you can have it. Okay, if you want to see, so for example here I just did a duplicate value check. If you want to see what is the conditional formatting which is here, right? Okay, in this cell or this range of cell, okay, you can go to conditional formatting, you can go to manage rules, and it shows for the current selection what is the rule which is given. Okay, if you want you can edit the rule here. Okay, so you can have many such things. Okay, you can do a conditional formatting. Okay, you to show up and down. Okay, and if you want to show a data bar, okay, color bar, you can do. Okay, so this is about the conditional formatting. Now one important topic we skipped earlier is partial VLOOKUP. Okay, now VLOOKUP, what happens is, you remember I showed you how to do match in case you only know a partial character. For VLOOKUP also we can do. If you see here, you see this red. Now we don't know where red can be. Okay, so I can just do VLOOKUP. I can put star. So wherever the value starts with red, okay, because red is what we are searching, we look up A5 ampersand star. So wherever the value starts with red, I'll get the data for that. So for this one, red starts only for the first one, right? 1. So we will get in B5, we will get the values 1. Okay. But now when I have this data of A1, okay, when I put a star before A5, so star ampersand A5 ampersand star, okay, how it is written, then we will get all, 3. Okay, so this is how partial VLOOKUP works. Okay, hyperlink, I have showed you in the starting how do we work with hyperlink. Okay, now formula editing group. Okay, this is kind of important. Why? Because these are the tools which we can use for auditing and troubleshooting Excel. Okay, okay, so let's just quickly go to a function. Okay, this was the match function which we did. So now if I want to see, okay, which cells are dependent on this, okay, or this. So I go to data, sorry, I go to formulas, and this is the formula auditing group. Okay, so trace dependence. So where trace dependence means this is dependent on this. Okay, sorry, this is dependent on this. Okay, and then trace precedence. So if I click here, so this is dependent on this value, right? Because we are searching this here and we get the position here. Okay, to remove the arrows, you can click on this remove arrows. Okay, if you want to see the formula, okay, you can click on show formula. So by this what happens is your formula now will not show the evaluated value, it will not show 7, it will show the formula to you. Okay, and you can evaluate the formula as well. Okay, I can just do this evaluation of formula. Okay, so what I do in this case is evaluate the formula. So first it evaluates, you click here. Okay, it's asking for Anuj, which we got from here, and evaluate. So when I search Anuj here, I get 7. So this is the value which we get. For big formulas, you will take more time to evaluate. Okay, next we have pivot table. Okay, so pivot table is a data processing technique in Excel. Okay, so pivot table is used to summarize data and extract information from a large data set. Okay, pivot table assists in making dashboards and to create reports based on data source, right? So create a pivot table. You can go to table section under insert, or the alternative is, or I mean the shortcut is alt dp. Okay, pivot chart is a visual representation of pivot table which allows us to summarize and analyze data sets and pattern. So what you see here is a pivot chart, right? And what you see here is a slicer. Now what is a slicer? Pivot table slicer is a tool in MS Excel. The purpose of slicer in Excel is to filter the data present in a pivot table. The data can be presented based on various categories with the help of the slicer, as it offers a way to apply the filters on the pivot table that dynamically changes the view of the pivot table data. Okay, so let's see on how can we do this. Okay, so let me show this to you quickly for pivot table. So this is my data. Okay, this is my data. What I do is I go to home, insert, pivot table. Okay, this is the data, and let me select a new worksheet. Okay, this your data table gets automatically selected here. Okay, now let's do this. Okay, let me take the category in the rows. Okay, or let's take category here in the filter. We get the product here in the rows, and then we get the amount in the values, right? So by this I can create a pivot table. So basically what you saw is this is such a big table. I just summarized this table into a pivot, okay, which is so small and easy to understand. You can also only do fruits. Okay, so if you do fruits, only fruits will come up. Then same for vegetables, only vegetables will come up, right? Now sometimes what happens is we might need to put a slicer. Okay, sometimes we, okay, this is what products, right? Sometimes what happens is we want to have a filter of what we are putting here as well. Okay, and we can't do that. Excel won't allow us to put a column in both slicer as well as the filter. So in that case what we do is we insert a slicer for this. So pivot table, analyze, insert slicer. You can choose whatever you want. Okay, let me just select for slicer. What do I select? Do I have category? I have product. Let me put country for slicer. Okay, so now what slicer does is it is also a filter. Slicer is nothing but a filter. Whatever you select, only that data will come here, right? And you unselect all, so all will come. Okay, so this is your slicer. Now if you want to put make a pivot chart out of it, okay, so how do? You go here, you go to pivot chart. Okay, whatever suits you. Let me just select pi. Okay, for this it will look nice for this, and I have a pivot chart. Okay, this is how you can create a pivot chart. Now you can customize it. Definitely you can format, you can, have different types of charts, whichever you would like. Okay, so you can play around here. You can have data levels here. Okay, so you can play around. You just put whatever you feel that's important. Okay, in your chart you just put that. Okay, so this was about pivot table slicer. Now next thing what we will see is the merge cells. Okay, now what is merge cells? Merging cells in Excel means combining two or more cells together. Okay, Excel has provided us with an inbuilt button which is used to merge cells. This button is available in alignment section of the home tab to merge two or more than two cells. First thing to do is the selection of cells which are to be merged, and then when we click on this, the button cells are merged. In Excel, quite often we may want the values of multiple cells to be merged into one, or we may need to present the data differently. Let me show this to you. So for example, I want to give an header here. Okay, pivot, header of pivot. So what I can do is I can write pivot sheet. Okay, I just wrote it here. I can merge this, select how much ever you want and merge, or let me just merge even further. It will look better. Okay. Okay. Now you can just make, the alignments, and you can, increase the size so it will look nice. Okay. So like this, you can merge multiple cells or you can unmerge. Always remember, when you are merging multiple cells, if you have data in all the cells, only the first cell data will be shown and rest all will be removed. Okay. That is about merge cell. Next, what we have is group and ungroup. Okay. So the group and ungroup is when you have data, okay, and you want to group your data, you can do that. So the group is an Excel tool which groups 2 or more rows or columns. With grouping, the user has an option to minimize and maximize the group data. The rows or columns of the group collapse on minimizing and expand on maximizing. The group option is available under the outline section of the data tab. Okay. So you can see here in outline, you can group. Let me quickly show you how group works. So you see here we have a data and we can group here, right? And you see here we have 1 and 2. So 1 means to contract everything, and 2 means to expand everything at a single go, right? So how did we do this? So okay, sorry. Okay. So how did we do this? So we go to the data and we do a group of it. Okay. Okay, so I do a group of rows. Okay, so right now I don't have anything, so hence it didn't group. Okay, so if I just ungroup everything, okay, I first ungroup cells, rows. Okay, so see that grouping has gone. Now I can group everything here and I can put it in a single place. Okay, I can group it. You see, I grouped it now. Okay, let me do this. Ungroup it and select from here so that my Canada is visible. Okay, so I group now. Okay, the same way I group from here. Okay, also what I want to show is we can do subgroups also. So for example, I can subgroup this also, the product which is same. I can again go and group here. Okay, we can do this subgroups. So when you do subgroups, so this is how this would work, and you will have multiple levels. Then as many subgroups you do, you will have that many levels. Okay, so we are now then at the end of the session. I hope you have learned something. I have tried to cover the most important things which we do